Welcome to a first draft video for the round of 16, and there will be changes most likely up until the deadline, and of course we do have until Saturday to make changes to our teams. I'm still going to be making a team selection video where things are going to be a bit more concrete, and then of course a deadline stream where I'll talk to all of you. And by the way, thanks for all the support in the last live stream. I really appreciate it. We had up to 12,000 people watching the entire video and so many people watching at the same time, so really appreciate it. And in terms of the statistics I use in any of my videos, I get them from Fantasy Football Hub, so check the link in the description below and just sign up. There's a 30% discount for all of you early birds, so yeah, just keep that in mind. But anyway, in terms of Euro Fantasy Football, I will talk about how Matchday 3 went in my team selection video, but right now we're just focused on my team for the round of 16 at the moment, and there could be plenty of changes. And what I will do first is actually talk about the round of 16 matches, and we've got some cracking ones in there. So Italy against Austria, you would expect Italy to go through, so tripling up on their assets does make sense. Then we have Belgium against Portugal. Now that's where it gets really difficult and you get this grey area, because I mean, even though some people would favour Belgium, it could go either way, and with the form that Cristiano Ronaldo is in, you just can't write them off, and they've got plenty of quality players apart from him. And then France versus Switzerland, so maybe even getting 2 or 3 French assets is a viable option. But you look at my team, for example, I've got no French players, and I'll be talking about why in a second, but that could change, of course, once again when we approach the deadline. Then we have Croatia against Spain. That's a pretty interesting game, and it reminds me, I think, of the Euro 2012 campaign. I think they did face each other, and Modric was outstanding in that match. Sweden against Ukraine, that could also be a very interesting match, and the likes of Yarmolenko, Yaremchuk, Forsberg, they look like great assets for that game. England against Germany, that's a classic all the time in the World Cup, the Euros, even in the friendly. That should be a very interesting game indeed. Netherlands against Czech Republic, and of course if you do see England's kind of side of the draw, it's actually much easier than the likes of Belgium, France and Portugal. So yeah, Netherlands against Czech Republic, that could be a very good one. You would expect Netherlands to go through, you could triple up on their assets. And then Wales against Denmark, and yeah, I actually think if Eriksen, obviously, hopefully he keeps on recovering, if he was fit for this tournament, I think he would have had an outstanding one, and even maybe fired Denmark to a semi-final potentially. But yeah, Denmark still have the ability to get to the quarterfinals. I think they will, but of course, you know, we'll wait and see. There could be plenty of upsets across these matches, and yeah, I'm just looking forward to all of them. But this is what I've come up with. And as I discussed before, I think triple Italy against Austria is a viable option. Austria haven't been that impressive, but still 2 wins out of 3 in the group stages. They're not easy. It could even be a narrow 1-0 traditional Italy win, but I think Donnarumma is the standout goalkeeper. He's someone who can go far into the tournament, at least make it to the quarterfinals, and yeah, he's a bit of a set and forget in a way. He is 33% owned, but I just want to keep it simple with Donnarumma. And as for my budget keeper, it's just Safonov, but I could change him. But yeah, obviously Russia haven't gone through, and that is a bit surprising. I thought that they would, but yeah, I think Safonov, yeah, he's just budget. He's not going to be playing. And I think sticking with one goalkeeper does make sense, but obviously I do see the appeal of maybe going for Stecklenburg, for example. He could go far into the tournament, but I do like the likes of Depay, Wijnaldum and Dumfries against Czech Republic, and potentially Wales or Denmark after. So that's the thinking at the moment, but Stecklenburg could come in for Safonov, and maybe Donnarumma could change, but that's what I'm going with at the moment. In terms of my defence, I think I just want to keep it simple. Double Italy defence with Spinazzola and Donnarumma. I think that's what I want to go for, and if I do get rid of Donnarumma, I'd probably have Spinazzola and maybe Toloi or Di Lorenzo, depending on who starts for Italy. But yeah, I definitely want to double up on their defence, and that's 10 clean sheets in a row now for the Italians. And yeah, they're one of the best sides in this tournament. So far, you could say they have been the best. So yeah, Spinazzola is a bit of a no-brainer, and he's been one of the best players in defence, not only in the eye test and in real life, but also as a fantasy asset. So yeah, Spinazzola, a bit of a no-brainer. And then Mæhle, I did have him in my normal team, but I wildcarded him out, and of course he did score against Russia, which obviously knocked him out. But yeah, Mæhle, I mean, I've talked about him before, even in Matchday 2, he's offered plenty of attacking threat. He was very good against Belgium, once again against Russia. Then we have Dumfries against Czech Republic. I think his attacking potential is too good. It's a bit of a shame that he did get substituted off at half-time, because I did have him in game week 3 or match day 3. But good news going into the round of 16, he's going to be fully rested and he should play. And Netherlands have actually looked better defensively with De Ligt coming in. but I still have my doubts about Netherlands, but I do expect them to reach the semi-finals, to be honest, and Dumfries could be a great option. And if you don't go for him, I would recommend Stecklenburg. And then I've gone with Harry Maguire. He's back in the side. He does face Germany, but I do like England's defence. That's 3 clean sheets from 3 games, and to be fair, Germany is a tough game, so he could be changed maybe to a French asset like Kimpembe, but I would want... Well, I need to find money elsewhere to fund that move. But yeah, Maguire's just in there at the moment, but I probably won't be sticking with him. But I do like England's defence, I have to say that. And to be honest, I'd probably go for him because he's the cheapest asset along with Pickford. Stones is now 5.6 million after the price rises in Matchday 3. And Pau Torres, he came on as a substitute and got an assist for an own goal against Slovakia. But yeah, I think Spain are decent defensively. Under Luis Enrique, they've only lost 1 game in his second spell as the national team manager. And yeah, Pau Torres, I think, is a good way into the defence. But there could be that question. Is it going to be Eric Garcia or Pau Torres? That isn't fully decided yet. So to be honest, when you're looking at my team, I think Spinazzola, maybe Mailer and Dumfries are nailed, and possibly Donnarumma. But you look at Safonov, Maguire and Pau Torres, they could be changed, I think. As for my midfield, I do actually like it. It's very balanced, and I think they've got some of the best options across different teams. Wijnaldum, a masterclass in Matchday 3. I'm a bit disappointed because the only time I had him was in Matchday 2 where he blanked, and in the other 2 games he scored. But he just gets into great positions. He's very intelligent, and yeah, he's just pure box-to-box midfielder. I think Wijnaldum's just a great asset against Czech Republic and Wales or Denmark in the quarterfinals. If they were to reach that stage, I think Wijnaldum could be a fantastic asset at 8.1 million, and still, I wouldn't say a differential, but he's not owned by a massive proportion of the game, so I think he's a good asset. As for Shaqiri, I mean, another one who I did actually have in my wildcard draft in my live stream, didn't stick with him and he ended up getting 13 points, but he's the main man for Switzerland, but he is facing France, so yeah, I think I did actually bring him in because I was playing around with his team before things changed, and obviously Switzerland ended up facing France, but yeah, in the end I think Shaqiri, he could actually make way, to be honest, because France, despite how kind of underwhelming they've been defensively, I would expect them to tighten things up in the knockout stages. Of course, against Portugal, they did concede 2 penalties, but I wouldn't expect that going forward. But yeah, Shaqiri, I think, is someone that, despite how good he is for his price, I think I will probably be going away from him. If Switzerland were facing someone else, maybe like a Wales or a Denmark, you know, that could be sensational for someone like Shaqiri. But yeah, I think Shaqiri will be making way. But around his price, I have to say, he's the standout, and he's proven it so far this tournament. And then Forsberg, I mean, that's 2 back-to-back returns for him, and he did so well against Poland. He was instrumental in their victory and top in the group. And now they're kind of rewarded in a way, facing Ukraine. And the kind of logic I have here, because I have him and Yarmolenko, is that if either of those teams go through, I would expect either one of them to be the talisman, to get those points, to get the goals and assists. So I think having Forsberg and Yarmolenko covers that game extremely well. As for my front line, I think I'll just keep it simple. It's the same as what I had for Matchday 1. Depay, Lukaku and Ronaldo. 3 of the highest scoring players in the game. Depay was instrumental in Matchday 3. In Matchday 2 he only scored a penalty, and despite his great performance against Ukraine, he didn't do too much, but he's shown why he's such a popular asset. He's on all set pieces, he's greedy, he's hungry for goals, and he's also got plenty of assists in him too, so Depay is a great option all the time. And with that run to the semi-finals potentially, I think Netherlands assets, I mean, Depay for around 10 million is just a no-brainer. Lukaku, I think it's between him and De Bruyne. You could have both of them, and definitely, I mean, the quality that both of them possess, but because they're facing Portugal, I'm a bit put off having Lukaku and Kevin De Bruyne, so that's something I will say. But if they were facing Hungary, for example, if they did finish 3rd, I probably would have gone for the double up and maybe even triple up by having a defender like Meunier or Denayer or someone else. But for now, just Lukaku, but that could change as well. And Ronaldo, I know he's facing Belgium, but just look how good he's been in this tournament so far. And Portugal are winning plenty of penalties, should I say. And yeah, there could be even more. And Belgium aren't really that good defensively. They don't fill me with confidence in that department. And Ronaldo could score a goal or 2 even if they do get eliminated. So something to consider. I haven't really seen too much from the other premium assets like Harry Kane, for example, to justify moving him about, or even Mbappe or Griezmann. But maybe what I could do is move Ronaldo to Mbappe, Griezmann or Benzema, and save some money there, spend it on the rest of my team, maybe Shaqiri to a Perisic or someone else who did really well for me in Matchday 3. But that's how I'm looking at the moment. It's a rough draft. As you can see, a lot of people will be picking out Shaqiri. I did have him obviously before the groups got finalized. He probably will be making way, and same with a few others in this team, which I already discussed. But let me know, what do you think of my team? What improvements would you make, and who will be your kind of captaincy plans? And let's see actually if this is available. Yeah. So in terms of the current team I have at the moment, what I would be doing is on the Saturday, I probably would be captaining an Italian player, and I'd go for Spinazzola. I think he's got the most attacking potential. Berardi's been very impressive, but I'd probably go for Spinazzola. I think a clean sheet and maybe an attacking return is possible. And then on the Sunday, this is interesting, but I'd probably go for Depay because of the easier fixture. Belgium-Portugal could be very tight, could even go all the way to penalties or extra time. So I'd probably go for Depay. And on the Monday, well, if I do bring a French player, I'll probably captain them, but otherwise really I have no one else from this. Maybe Shaqiri or Pau Torres, but most likely, both of them could make way from my side, so that's really not set in stone. And as for the final day, to be honest, I'd actually be tempted by a Yarmolenko or Forsberg captaincy, but as you can see, it gets a bit more difficult. There's not really as many standout captains, but you can't even discount the likes of Lukaku, De Bruyne, Ronaldo, etc. in these kind of tough games. They can still produce the magic and get double-digit returns. Same with England, Germany. You never know. Football doesn't always turn out the way in which we expect. But yeah, thank you everyone for all the feedback, all the support, and smash the like button and subscribe if you're new around here. If you enjoy this sort of content, there'll be more FPL, Euro Fantasy Football, and also UCL Fantasy, just content, videos, live streams coming in the future, so stay tuned. Really appreciate all the support and all the good energy, good feedback, and I'll see you next time.